This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, it is Wednesday, November 20th, and you know what that is. Big day today. Joe Biden turns 82 years old today, the oldest president ever to serve. He has 61 days left in his term, and the question is, will he get what he wants for his birthday, which is World War III? That's the goal if you're Joe Biden. That's a serious question. Does Joe Biden want war? I think there's a very good chance he does, and I will tell you why. Because Donald Trump is determined to end the conflict. Most Americans want an end to the conflict. Most Ukrainians want it to end, and Trump says he can do it in 24 hours. Maybe that's a little hyperbolic. Maybe it'll take him 2 or 3 days, maybe a week. But it would be a wonderful thing for America to stop shoveling money to Ukraine. It'd be a wonderful thing for Ukraine and Russia to stop losing young men to this pointless, endless, stupid war. But Joe Biden does not want an end to the war. Joe Biden has made it clear his priority is to continue the fighting, continue the dying, and continue the spending. They announced yesterday another $250 million will be sent to Ukraine. Tony Blinken said they were going to shovel money to Ukraine until the final day of their term. Does anyone support that in the United States? No, most people don't, but they don't care. And if Joe Biden escalates this war, if Joe Biden provokes Vladimir Putin further, that just makes it harder for Donald Trump to end the madness. There's a new report that our missiles, the U.S. missiles, that have been sent into Russia. Joe Biden authorized the use of these missiles to be fired deep into Russian territory. Yesterday, we were told they landed 75 miles from the border. Today, that's 105 miles. 105 miles into Russia, Ukraine has struck with American missiles and with American authorization. Does anyone think this is a good idea? Does anyone think this makes any sense at all? Does anyone trust Joe Biden to not push Vladimir Putin to the brink? I mean, judging by Democrats' logic, if Putin uses one of his nukes, and he has more nukes than any country on earth, yesterday his spokesman said that they are considering a nuclear response. So if he fires a nuke and blows up a city in Ukraine and kills, 1 million people, I think I know what the Democrat response will be on Morning Joe the next day. I think I know what AOC and Bernie Sanders, these peaceniks, these hippies will say. Hey, it's good for America. Vladimir Putin is using up all his military resources. He has fewer nukes now. That's what we've done. We've worn down, decimated Russia's military capabilities by supporting Ukraine. So if he uses nukes, hey, isn't that a good thing? That means he has fewer nukes to use on us. I know that sounds silly, but does anyone trust Joe Biden at this point? He's not a man of sound mind. We know that. We've seen that. Just this week, we saw him wandering around the Amazon rainforest. Nobody thinks he is lucid at this point, but he is still commander-in-chief, and he can still do this. He can still dump us into this conflict, the worst Europe has seen since World War II. How could you trust him at this point? They forced him out of the race because he's not cogent enough. He's not cognitively fit. He's not healthy. He's old. He's 82. And yet he gets to make the call in the next 61 days. I, for one, am worried. I do not trust the man. I think he's a narcissist. I think he's a monster. I think he's pissed. And he's pissed at his own party for what they did to him in July when they shivved him in the back. And of course, he hates Donald Trump. So in his mind, why make it easy for Trump? Why just roll over and let Trump make peace before he takes office? That would be an incredible achievement on the part of Donald Trump. And Joe Biden, he can avoid that. He can stop that if he wants. Yesterday, the U.S. announced they're closing their embassy in Kyiv, closing their embassy because it is no longer safe for Americans. Why is that? Why is the embassy no longer safe? Is it because you told Zelensky to go ahead and fire away? Yes, this is from Reuters this morning. The United States shut its embassy in Kyiv Wednesday morning due to, quote, specific information of a potential significant air attack amid jitters in the capital over a possible Russian retaliation a day after a big Ukrainian airstrike. Reuters reported that the Italian and Greek embassies also said they would close their doors after the U.S. warning. And here's where they report a U.S. ATACMS, that's a long-range missile, landed in in Russia, 100 miles deep on the 1,000th day of the war. Who wants this? Who supports this? This is madness. This is insane. I don't trust Joe Biden. I don't feel good about the next 61 days. There is no way they are going to go quietly. I got a question. Would it still be considered a peaceful transfer of power if Joe Biden started World War III and left Donald Trump to deal with the fallout? Would that be peaceful? Does Joe Biden just want to respect democracy, shake the man's hand, and walk away at the age of 82? By the way, he's 5 years older than Ronald Reagan was when Reagan left office, and Reagan was always considered a little too old for the job at that point. But we got 62 days, and they are going to be wild 62 days, beginning today, by the way, this day, Wednesday, where a House Ethics Committee is meeting to decide whether they want to release a report, the DOJ report, into Matt Gaetz. Now, Matt Gaetz is Donald Trump's choice, his appointment for the Attorney General. Matt Gaetz is a firebrand. He is a wild man. He holds nothing back. He's the best there is during these congressional hearings. He has spoken out against Nancy Pelosi and others who have made suspicious stock trades and gotten rich. They hate him. Democrats hate him. Lots of Republicans hate him. The media hates him. And they are just rubbing their hands and praying this report comes out. And I can tell you right now, I don't believe it. I don't believe the accusations against him. And for one simple reason, the DOJ, Merrick Garland, investigated for 3 years and concluded there were no credible accusations, and they lodged no charges, no indictment, no conviction. Now you tell me if there's anything there against Matt Gaetz, does Merrick Garland drop the case? That's all I need to know. I was thinking back as I was watching this thing unfold today, the House Ethics Committee, 10 members, 5 from each party. They get to vote, and you know what? They'll probably vote to release it because the Democrats hate him, and all it takes is one Republican to turn on him. But why would they ever not charge Matt Gaetz? I was thinking back 6 years, September 27th, 2018, watching the hearings for Brett Kavanaugh, watching Christine Blasey Ford take the stand, watching the Democrats just attack Kavanaugh, make his wife cry, make him cry, calling him a rapist. It was all made up. But at that moment, I was thinking, boy, he's done. This is devastating. It only took a few days to realize she was an actress, a crisis actress who made the whole thing up. Even her friend didn't support her wild accusation. She didn't know when it happened, where it happened, how she got there, how she got home. They just will stop at nothing to destroy their enemies. That is the state of the media, the Democrat Party. They will stop at nothing. So when you hear Matt Gaetz, oh, he had sex with a 17-year-old, they say, wow. And there was a witness. And then you realize the witness is not the least bit credible. The guy that is leading the campaign to stop Gaetz, he's in prison for 11 years. You know what he did? He accused another guy, a political opponent, of sleeping with a teenager. It's what he does. His name is Goldberg, and he is a really, really bad guy. As you can find out if you do a little investigation, but you won't hear that on The View. You won't hear that on Morning Joe. It's just he's accused of sleeping with a minor, and he's of paying for sex. And then you read the accusations and you say, holy crap, this is just another attempt to destroy the man. Now, maybe they'll bring out more accusations, but the ones they got so far, Greenberg, his name is Greenberg, I'm sorry. He was called one of the most corrupt Florida politicians of all time, according to reporter Mark Caputo, who works for the Bulwark, an anti-Trump organization. And the whole thing is just nuts. This guy Goldberg is evil, and he hates Gaetz, and he's trying to destroy Gaetz. It sounds a lot like the Kavanaugh hearing. They're going to attempt to Kavanaugh Gaetz in the coming days, and I don't know if he'll survive, but I respect the choice because Trump knows that he's going to have to fight for all his choices, and he's going to put people on the spot. So Gaetz is going to say he goes in front of the Senate. He may lose, and Republicans may turn on him. But then you'll have people like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski and Mitch McConnell who will have to explain why they voted for Merrick Garland, a Democrat, a person who was used by Biden to go after his political enemies. They voted for him, but they're not going to vote for Matt Gaetz. How will that work? And if they focus all their energy, all their fire on Gaetz, that will make it easier for others like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. And maybe he gets all his selections through the Senate except Gaetz. And you know what? The next guy he picks, if it's not Gaetz, will be just as tough. And I'm hoping it's Ron DeSantis. That's my feeling. But let's get to the media feeding frenzy. They love this. Matt Gaetz had sex with a 17-year-old. Well, not really. That's just what somebody said. Not really, but they are just running with it. They don't care. They don't need facts. They don't need it to be true. They're going with it because they hate the man. They're just blind with rage and hatred for the man. And I understand why. He does not back down from anybody. But here yesterday is The View. Yes, Sonny Hostin, who attacked Gaetz using those unfounded allegations and then was forced by some lawyer on ABC to go out there and make a slight correction. Watch this.
How could you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking across state lines and having sex with a 17-year-old? My understanding further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he finds out that she's 17, he stops having sex with her.
Hey, Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
We'll be right back.
How is she not instantly fired?
How are they all not instantly fired? Honest to God, she was forced to read that. I assume somebody, Gaetz' lawyer, reached out to them and said that there were no charges. Honestly, simple question. If there were credible, if there were any way possible to convict him or even just smear him, wouldn't Merrick Garland have pursued that? Wouldn't he have charged him with something? Here's the problem. I mentioned this. This guy, Joel Greenberg, he was the Seminole County tax collector and a bitter rival of Gaetz. He admitted to being part of a wide-ranging case for which he currently is serving 11 years in prison after, quote, falsely accusing local politician Brian Booty of having sex with a minor. So he's in prison for 11 years for falsely accusing a rival of having sex with a minor. And we're supposed to believe him accusing Gaetz of having sex with a minor is credible at this point. It's amazing, but they don't care. That's what we're dealing with. This is going to be a wild smear campaign, and it's going to be relentless for the next 61 days. And again, lots of Republicans, they will get squishy, they'll get soft. They don't like him. They don't like his personality. So they may turn on him, and he may have trouble with Gaetz. But again, I respect the effort. He knows, Gaetz knows what this Department of Justice is capable of, and he will stop at nothing to clean it out if he is indeed confirmed. And if not, he will go down fighting. It is going to be a crazy couple of months, and I hope he at least gets to the hearing. But they're going to be digging stuff out. Just never forget what they did to Kavanaugh. They just made up sexual assault allegations in an attempt to destroy the man, destroy his life. They failed. Thankfully, she failed. Democrats still respect. They still like Christine Blasey Ford, even though we know she's nuts and she just made the whole thing up, just like the other woman, Julie Swetnick. I think she's the one who said he was part of a gang rape on a boat off Rhode Island. Just made up. Michael Avenatti was the ringleader. Just made it all up. Keep that in mind as they attempt to destroy Matt Gaetz, and, by the way, attempt to destroy RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. You know, that Russian agent who's in the military today. She's been in the military for 26 years. And now, according to Liz Warren and Hillary Clinton, she's a Russian agent. I don't know. Should we have Russian agents serving in the military, serving in Congress? They just are going to stop at nothing. It is going to be wild, and it's going to be a fight to the death to get these folks through. And let's hope he does, because, man, they have some work to do, as we've seen over the last 4 years. Of course, he's got a job before he takes office, and that is to stop the nuclear war that Joe Biden is attempting. Maybe it's today. Maybe his goal was always to start a nuclear war on his birthday. You know, just see what happens. Whatever. He doesn't have much time left. Let's see if he can do it. Hey, Hunter, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to authorize missiles that can reach Moscow. Then they're going to fire back. Hey, they'll never find out exactly what we were doing in Ukraine. Putin's going to blow the whole place up.
Yeah, he'll see the ashes falling from the sky and think it's birthday confetti.
Joe Biden is not a moral man. He's not an ethical man. He's a narcissist. He's a bitter, angry man who isn't going to go quietly one way or another. Let's just hope, he doesn't kill 8 million people on his way out the door, which is a real possibility. All right, we got to get to this story, this Nancy Mace story. Man, she's pretty good too. She is pretty crazy, and she is stopping the newest member of the first transgender individual in Congress, sent there, no surprise, by the voters of Delaware, who are they're just awful. Man, Delaware Democrats are just the worst. And they sent the first transgender member to Congress. It's a guy who's pretending to be a woman. And Nancy Mace is not going to let him go into the ladies' room, and she is not backing down, and the media is having a fit. Also, I want to get to this too. Connecticut is all in with Massachusetts, with Illinois, with California. They're ready to go to battle with Tom Homan to protect illegal alien criminals. Yes, that's your Attorney General of Connecticut. He's ready to draw a line in the sand and protect illegal alien rapists, murderers, drug dealers, and he's going to stop the federal government from kicking them out of your neighborhood. That is your Attorney General. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
The economy is in trouble with inflation, high interest rates, and out-of-control debt. And don't think your retirement funds are safe from the radical left. Now is the time to call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your wealth portfolio with physical gold and silver. With the finest products, amazing customer service, and a buyback commitment, American Hartford Gold has a 5-star rating from thousands of reviews and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. American Hartford Gold supports content like this that is committed to bringing you the truth. Tell them I sent you, and they'll give you up to $15,000 of free silver on your first order. So call them now. Click the link in the description or call 866-607-4299. That's 866 607-4299 or text Gerry, Gerry, to 65532. Again, that's 866-607-4299 or text Gerry to 65532. Want a better way to simplify finance operations for your business across expenses, vendor payments, and accounting? If so, Ramp could be a complete game changer. Ramp is the corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money back in your pocket. Ramp's accounting software automatically collects receipts and categorizes your expenses in real time so you don't have to. You'll never have to chase down a receipt again, and your employees will no longer spend hours submitting expense reports. Businesses that use Ramp save an average of 5% the first year, and Ramp is easy to use. Get started, issue virtual and physical cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes, whether you have 5 employees or 5,000. And now you can get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Gerry. That's RAMP.com/Gerry. Cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Again, get $250 when you join Ramp. Go to ramp.com/Gerry. All right, before we move on from this Gaetz thing, because I gotta get to this, because it's going to explode today. It's going to get wild, because even if they vote to not release the ethics report, it's reportedly already been hacked. Hackers have it, and they're gonna feed it to their friends in the media, and there's gonna be all kinds of salacious accusations from this guy Joel Greenberg, who, by the way, I mentioned that he's in prison for a number of things, including accusing a political opponent, falsely accusing a political opponent of sleeping with a 17-year-old girl. So it's kind of his MO. But check this out. Greenberg was convicted of a number of charges, including sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl. So he's in prison for having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl and accusing another politician of doing that falsely. And this is the guy accusing Gaetz of having sex with a 17-year-old girl. Goldberg met the 17-year-old on a site for older men with money and younger women needing money who are prepared to have sex with older men. The practice matches sugar daddies with sugar babies, and it's considered a form of prostitution. The woman lied about her age when she registered on the site, and the married Joel Greenberg maintains he was not aware she was a minor when he began having sex with her. This is the guy that they're counting on to bring down Matt Gaetz. I mean, maybe you could question Gaetz for hanging with him, but I don't think the guy has a lot of credibility. And it won't matter. This guy, if he weren't in prison, he'd be on Morning Joe today. They're going to run with whatever they can come up with today. And it's going to get wild because Gaetz is a fighter and he will fight back. And that's why Trump picked him. They're all going to have a fight on their hands. But let's get to this Nancy Mace story. This is nuts. If you didn't know, Delaware's elected the first transgender congressperson ever. I didn't know that. Did it seem like we must have had one by now? I mean, there's some prominent ones. Rachel Levine, she's not in Congress. He's in the Health and Health HHS. But Sarah McBride won with 57% of the vote, easily defeating the Republican in the general election. He was a state senator before that. Now he is the first transgender individual. He's formerly named Timothy, and now he grew his hair out and goes by the name of Sarah. So Sarah shows up on the Hill, and before he could even venture over into the ladies' room, Nancy Mace said she's going to file a bill to say only biological females in the ladies' room. And this is, to me, this is a sign of progress. This wouldn't have happened 4 years ago, 5 years ago. No, we are allowed to do this now. We're allowed to call a man a man. You couldn't do that, trust me, 5 years ago. You were forced to use the pronouns, the fake name. You were forced to say, this guy is not a guy. This guy grew his hair out and changed his name. So we have to call him a woman, and we have to allow him into the women's room. No more. That ain't happening. Nancy Mace said she even went over and put a sign on the door because it just had a little drawing of a female. She put a sign on the door, women only, and she is not backing down. If you don't know Nancy Mace, she's a congresswoman, and she's a pro-abortion Republican, very outspoken, very big MAGA supporter now, but not so much 5 years ago. And she was the first woman ever at the Citadel, admitted to the Citadel. And she's a rape victim, a rape survivor, and she does not back down from anyone. Watches a reporter, chases her down to ask her about how she's treating the marginalized individual. I love that, marginalized. Like transgender people are marginalized in today's society. I got news for you. Rachel Levine wouldn't have a job anywhere if he wasn't pretending to be a woman. Sam Brinton wouldn't have got a job in the Biden administration if he wasn't whatever he is, non-binary. They're the least marginalized people in society today. They're the
everyone's luggage, though.
They're at the top of the victim hierarchy. That's where they are. They're above women, and they're above African Americans, and they're above handicapped. They're the top of the heap, the least marginalized people in the world. And this is a made-up thing, as usual. As usual, this is not real, because Sarah McBride has a bathroom in his office. He doesn't need to go into the women's room. He doesn't need to, but that's what this is often all about. It's just like with Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas didn't have to walk around the locker room naked in front of 18-year-old girls. He wanted to show that he won. He had the power. He wanted to intimidate them, and he got aroused. He enjoyed it. It was kind of a thing. He was a bully. He liked to bully the girls and foist his little fetish on them, and they hated it, obviously. And that was okay with him. That made it even more exciting for him. This is similar. Sarah McBride doesn't have to go in the woman's room. No reason to do this except to exert his power and show that he's in charge now, and she is not backing down. Watch Nancy Mace.
Are you going after a marginalized person here?
Sarah McBride doesn't get a say in this. This is a biological man trying to force himself into women's spaces, and I'm not going to tolerate. You have the radical left that are trying to erase women and erase women's rights. I'm the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. If some guy in a skirt came by and said, no, that's my achievement, I'm going to be there and standing in the way and saying, hell no. I'm not going to allow men to erase women or women's rights. And I'm going to be standing up here. I will file this again next congressional session. Sarah McBride doesn't get a say. This is about women. This is about girls. This is about our rights and being protected in our private spaces. I don't want to see a man in a women's restroom. That's not a thing. And it's not going to be a thing up here. It's not going to be a thing anywhere across the country either.
Thank you. You know what? That, again, wouldn't have happened 5 years ago. She would have backed down. It's the pendulum has swung, and it is the best issue for Republicans, just best issue for just decent people to say, no, we're not letting men in the women's room. We're not letting men in boys and girls sports. This is an 80-20 issue. There was a poll by a company called Blueprint after the election. The number one issue for swing voters was the trans issue. And they will say, oh, it's a John Oliver or whoever will say it's a minor thing. There's not many. It doesn't matter. It symbolizes this great divide. It symbolizes how far off the rails the Democrats have gone. And the ad Trump made was extremely effective. They placed this ad, swing voters, in this Blueprint poll above the economy, above the border, and above climate change. You can believe that. They know how insane this is. And they saw a candidate saying she wanted to use taxpayer money to pay for sex changes for prisoners. And they said, I can't vote for that. I can't support that. Trump won swing voters on cultural issues, which is a really good sign, because the Republicans were supposed to run from those 4 years ago, 8 years ago. No, let's not do it. Let's not go after marginalized people. We can't do that now. And the best example of this was on CNN. We played it a week ago when one of the hosts was talking about boys and girls sports, and another guest lost his mind. He called it a slur to call a boy a boy. That's how nuts they are To call a boy and say you don't want boys and girls sports is a slur. And he said, I'm not going to stand for it. That told you all you need to know. Calling a boy, according to the Democrat Party today, is a slur. Here's another great example of the shift in the right direction, a shift where you no longer have to cower, and you no longer have to be fearful and afraid you'll say the wrong thing. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, who tagged along with Trump to the UFC fight Saturday night and looked so out of place. Not only is he tiny, but he had his jacket tied. He was trying to be one of the bros. He was hanging with Kid Rock and Elon Musk, and it just didn't work. But I guess he wanted to make clear that he's on the Trump train. So he did a press conference in the morning yesterday, and he said, I'm not talking about that. He's asked about, the new trans congressman who can't go in the girls' room. And he said, no, we respect everyone. We're not talking about it. I'm not doing it. Apparently, he got a little blowback for being a little cowardly on the issue. He returns to the podium, to the mics in the afternoon to make one thing clear. A man is a man. Watch this.
Hello, everybody. I just want to make a statement for all of you here and be very clear. I was asked a question this morning at the leadership gaggle, and I rejected the premise because the answer is so obvious. For anybody who doesn't know my well-established record on this issue, let me be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman. And a man cannot become a woman. That said, I also believe, that's what Scripture teaches, what I just said, but I also believe that we treat everybody with dignity. And so we can do and believe all those things at the same time. And I wanted to make that clear for everybody because there's lots of questions. But that's where I stand. I've stood there my whole life, and those are facts.
That is big. I'm sorry. That, what the Speaker of the House just said, would get you kicked off Twitter 3 years ago. It would get you kicked off the radio 5 years ago. Trust me. To say a man is a man and a woman is a woman and a man can't become a woman, that blows up their whole narrative. I mean, they have gone all in on the trans ideology, on trans insanity. And now you have the Speaker of the House, and you also have, the president, the vice president, his entire cabinet, the entire Republican Party, which just won across the board, one mandate across the board, saying, we don't buy into this nonsense anymore. It is over. Any doctor still performing these procedures, get ready. You're going to get sued. You're going to get bankrupted. The country's waking up to this insanity, and the Democrats are paying a big price, huge price, for saying, we're all in with these lunatics. We want to let men in the girls' room. As we've talked about with Seth Moulton, that fraud, all he said was he wanted to protect his daughters, and they demanded his head on a stick. They want him to resign his office. There's your Democrat Party today. You think men shouldn't be allowed in the girls' room? Resign your office. We don't want you anymore. It'll be interesting to see. They know behind the scenes, they're saying, we can't do this. We have to moderate. We can't go all in on this, or we're going to lose and lose big again. It is a major shift in this country, and it's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing to watch. Dean Phillips, the congressman from Minnesota who challenged Joe Biden, he tweets out, what are you afraid of, Nancy Mace? And everybody responded, men in the women's room, men in the girls' room, men in the locker room, men in girls' sports. That's what they're afraid of. You got a problem with that? You want to throw all your chips in on that? You want to support Leah Thomas or any of the guys stealing trophies and stealing medals and scholarships from women? You go do that. You do it, Dean Phillips. Good plan, good idea. You know what? They don't even believe it. This is what's really revealing. They don't believe it. The media, they don't believe the guy on CNN, Dean Phillips, they don't believe a man can just say I'm a woman and suddenly he's a woman. They are living in fear of this tiny minority. They're loud, they're powerful, they're coming after Seth Moulton. They're screaming louder than anyone, but they're lying. They're lying to people. They're lying to the country. They know a man doesn't just become a woman when he says I'm a woman. That's not how it works. And the country is laughing in their faces, and it's wonderful to see. All right, I got to get to this. This great Alec Baldwin story. Talk about arrogant and tone deaf. Alec Baldwin, he actually made that freaking movie, Rust. I thought they were going to just close shop. They made the movie. It's premiering, I think, this week. You're not going to believe who they invited to the premiere. Alec Baldwin, can I just say it, is an absolute psychopath. He is a talented actor. He can be a pretty funny guy on Saturday Night Live, but he's insane. We'll tell you about that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Are your loved ones aging? Has walking become difficult for your parents, your grandparents? It's tough. I've been there. I know lots of you have been there too. Stairs can often be a challenge for them. It's also a significant risk of falling. Well, Lifeway Mobility, one of the largest providers of accessibility solutions, offers stair lifts, wheelchair ramps, home elevators, transfer aids, and bath safety solutions to improve safety, independence, and quality of life at home. Most of their solutions are made in the USA, and they provide professional installation and service. Gain peace of mind and help loved ones stay safe at home. Schedule a free consultation when you call Lifeway Mobility at 888-780-7923. They have locations across the U.S. with showrooms for you to see and test their products. They're also rated the best stair lift company by the National Council on Aging and by U.S. News, and they have over 6,000 five-star reviews. Call 888-780-7923 or visit lifewaymobility.com for your free consultation. That's 888-780-7923. Do you wake up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, or ringing in your ears from grinding and clenching your teeth at night? I've been through this. It's fairly common, and dentists charge $600 for a bruxism night guard. Many people are now discovering the Brux night guard. Unlike regular night guards that go all the way to the back of the teeth, Brux night guard only covers the front teeth. This unique design is what sets Brux night guard apart from all other guards. It only covers the front teeth, so the bite force is directed away from the back, where many people grind and clench to help reduce jaw pain and still protect the teeth. You mold it at home to the top and bottom teeth. And unlike other guards, it is made in America and uses two materials for added durability. Order a Brux night guard today and use the code MAX22 to get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to bruxnightguard.com and enter the code word MAX22. All right, this from the New York Post. In case you weren't already convinced, Alec Baldwin is a total a-hole and a friggin' lunatic. The mother of late Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchins refused to attend the movie's premiere in Poland Wednesday. So it's today. It was today in Poland. Due to Alec Baldwin's refusal to take responsibility for her daughter's death on the set of the Western in 2021, Hutchins' mother, Olga Solovey, slammed the screening at Poland's Cambridge Film Festival, saying in a statement that Baldwin, quote, seeks to unjustly profit from his killing of my daughter. Alec Baldwin continues to increase my pain with his refusal to apologize and his refusal to take responsibility for her death. This is why I refuse to attend the festival for the promotion of Rust, especially now when there's still no justice for my daughter. So he shot her dead on the set, and then he, whatever. He went to trial. They dismissed the case or threw it out, and they went through, made the movie, and he thought her mother was going to sit there in a movie theater and watch that scene in the church where Alec Baldwin shoots the gun and say, "Oh yeah, there it is. That's where my daughter died." This guy is just insane. I know he paid money. One of her brothers is a co-producer, I guess, just so we can make it official, and they can he could pay some money to the family, which is good. He should, but I can't believe they even made the movie. Are people going to watch this when it's on pay-per-view or when it's on HBO? You're going to watch this movie where Alec Baldwin, and he killed a woman and he got off scot-free, paid no price, didn't spend a day in jail. Meanwhile, Daniel Penny is right down the street from Alec Baldwin's home in New York, is fighting for his life. because he protected a bunch of women and children on the subway. He's facing 18 years, and they are literally trying to put him away for protecting people from a psychopath, homeless guy who was threatening to kill people, said he didn't mind. He wanted to die, and he was going to kill people. So Daniel Penny holds him down, protects people. He's a hero, and they want to put him in prison. They should give him the keys to the city. He should be honored for what he did. But Alvin Bragg, he didn't get to put Trump in prison. That's never going to happen, but he's damn well determined to put Daniel Penny in prison. But Alec Baldwin, not so much. I can't believe anybody is going to watch that movie and say, oh, yeah, this is the scene where he kills a woman. Hey, cool. I wonder if it'll make it more popular. People will be fascinated to see the moment when someone actually died. Sick people out there, I guess, some of them. All right. We've been talking a lot about Massachusetts and how our elected leaders are determined to protect the next Jose Ibarra, the guy who murdered Laken Riley. He was out hunting for women. The guy we welcomed to this country, put him up in the Roosevelt Hotel in New York, and then flew him for nothing down to Georgia, where he went on a hunt, found Laken Riley, brutally murdered her, bashed her head in with a rock, and he'll spend the rest of his life in prison where he belongs. It's up to a judge. I believe they're wrapping the case up today. The judge will put him away, of course, but that's not good enough. He should be executed. He should have never been in the country. Well, it's going to happen again and again and again, and it'll happen most frequently in blue cities and blue states where they are determined to fight the Trump administration. This is the beauty of Trump agenda. It is exposing these people, in so many ways. Doge, Musk, and Vivek are trying to trim the fat, find the corruption in the federal government, and Democrats are fighting them. We know the Defense Department failed 7 audits. They have the biggest budget. They have $850 billion budget, and they just waste money left and right. And Musk and Ramaswamy are coming for them. Democrats don't like that. They don't like that. We're actually going to find the waste, spend less money, and they're forced to defend the agencies, the bureaucracies that are pissing away billions. Good luck with that, Chuck Schumer. And then you have local DAs, local AGs, governors who are saying, we're going to protect our residents, criminal illegal aliens, people who've already been ordered out of the country and are hiding. They come to places like Connecticut and Massachusetts because they know they'll be protected. That's what a sanctuary city does. They protect criminals. So in Connecticut, where they've had a real problem with illegal aliens, it's cost the taxpayers a fortune. The attorney general, a guy named William Tong, said he's not going to allow it. He's going to take on Tom Homan when he comes for the criminals. Watch this.
Leaders got together this morning to make a commitment to protect undocumented immigrants.
Yeah, this promise comes as President-elect Donald Trump pledges to roll out mass deportations. News AG live in Hartford with more on their message. Jane.
And Darren, strong words spoken today by leaders. They promise that families will not be separated in Connecticut, no matter what the federal government will do next year.
It is the policy and it is the law of the state of Connecticut to respect, honor, and protect immigrants and immigrant families here in Connecticut, period, full stop.
Period, full stop.
Standing with Democratic city mayors, faith leaders, and immigration advocates, Attorney General William Tong was firm in his stance to protect undocumented immigrants, sharing a personal story of how his father was almost deported.
There's nothing illegal about what my father did, about what my parents did, about what they hoped for me and my sisters and our family.
According to data from the Migration Policy Institute, there are about 113,000 undocumented immigrants in Connecticut.
We live in the same community and pray for the health and success of this nation because this is our home too.
President-elect Donald Trump has not specified how he would exactly carry out mass deportations, but he did confirm today that his plan will involve a national emergency declaration and the military. In response, Tong referred to the state's Trust Act, passed in 2013, that limits the involvement of local law enforcement in the federal government's deportation program.
And so the federal government can't come into Connecticut and commandeer state resources, state law enforcement to do their job for them. And they can't tell us to do their job for them.
Republicans say Connecticut's undocumented population has put a financial strain on the state. Last week, Republicans proposed suspending the state's free health care plan for unauthorized residents.
I just think that we need to take a look at those costs and not be so quick to politicize this and stand in solidarity with a group of people that are, costing the state of Connecticut hundreds of millions of dollars.
Imagine that. Imagine being against spending hundreds of millions of dollars on criminal aliens. That's what they're doing in Connecticut and Massachusetts. And our elected leaders are ready to stand by the criminals. It's going to get crazy. Tom Homan has already said, if you're not going to help, get out of the way. We're coming. And if it means he has to double the number of agents he sends into blue cities and blue states, he will do that. And he means business. Tom Homan against these people who are Maura Healey's and William Tongs, who are determined to make their communities more dangerous, to protect criminals, is going to be a fascinating showdown. And you know who most taxpayers are supporting? Tom Homan. They're all in on this. They voted for this. They want this. Even the legal immigrants who live in the communities are going to be like, get these gang members out of here. That reporter said Trump has been unclear on how he's going to do this. Homan's made it clear. You start with the criminals. You start with the people already deported. 1.3 million illegal immigrants have already been ordered out of the country. They're still here. You start there. That's 1.3 million. 425,000 illegal immigrants have been convicted of serious crimes, of rape, of murder. They're here. You move on to them next. You find the next Jose Ibarra and you kick his ass out and you make communities safer. But they don't care. It's Trump, so they must oppose. They must stand with the criminals. It's going to be a wild couple of years. Just watch this thing happen. And I'm rooting hard. Watching Tom Homan do his job is going to be glorious. All right. You want to play this cut from Piers Morgan's show before we wrap this up? I know you love this cut. It is fun.
Always.
We could do, we should just take a day off and just play all these clips of liberal meltdowns. They don't know what to do here. Again, what they're forced to do is, fight for government waste and corruption, fight for illegal alien criminals. That's, fight for crime in inner cities, all the things Trump ran on and won, all the reasons he won. Fight for men in girls' bathrooms. All the things they're fighting for are insane, and they know it, and they don't know how to form an opposition, to be effective dissidents here and take on the new Trump administration. They are confused, they're lost, and they're fighting, and they're scratching each other's eyes out. Here's Piers Morgan, and I'll give Piers credit. He puts a show on, and his whole goal is to get everyone to fight, and it usually works. Just scream at each other, and he's not asking for decorum. He's asking for fisticuffs on his show, and he's got a couple of liberals, including Cenk. Is that how you Cenk from
Cenk Uygur and Alan Lichtman, I think is
yes, two hardcore Democrats who are somewhat unhinged. He brings Cenk on from the Young Turks, and he never fails. He just starts screaming at people every time, including in this one yesterday. Watch this.
Don't blame the voters. I think, look, we could get into this discussion, but one, I think you're blaming the voters. I think that's a terrible idea. And look, I debated Professor Lichtman before. I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were
Couldn't
not
find
right,
him
and
before
I
the
was
election.
not wrong. And that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Well, who won, brother?
You should not be
Who
taking
won?
cheap
Who
shots
won?
at me.
Who
You
won?
want to make your
You
point,
live
make your
in a
point.
total
Don't make it
world of
personal.
denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me.
Yeah,
so quiet
right,
with
right.
your personal
Yeah,
attacks.
come find out again.
Make whatever
Okay.
point you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't make it
You
personal.
don't know anything. You don't know
You
anything.
attacked me
You
personally.
You're so deluded.
All right. I've only
Okay.
been a
Can I
professor
just-
for 51 years.
On this program,
published
I've never been
13
able
books.
to finish a
How many
thought.
books have you published? No, because you're personally
Yeah.
attacking me again. Say whatever you want, but I'm not going to
Okay,
stand
but
for
brother,
personal
you got it
attacks.
wrong.
Say
You were
whatever you want.
preposterously and stupidly wrong. So, okay, all right. Can I just
Don't
finish
call
a
me
goddamn thought
stupid.
ever on this show?
No, not if you're
Okay,
personally
well,
I
you proved
admitted
it.
I was wrong. I don't need you to call me stupid.
Okay.
Can I just say, it's great to see you Democrats all getting
Who
along
taught
so
you
well.
manners?
It's lovely to see a
Can I
post-election
finish a
harmony as you all
goddamn
come
point?
together again.
Hey, Alan, shh. Hey, Alan, you deserve a tall glass of shut up juice. So can you just shut up for a second and let someone who knows what
Not
they're
if
doing?
you're
So
gonna
right,
personally
Pierre.
attack
You're
me.
so right. We're so
Make any
unified right now,
point you
Pierre.
want.
So
I will not sit here and stand for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that. You don't boost your
blasphemy
ego
against you?
by
Who the hell are
attacking
you?
me
Are you
like that.
Jesus
Just
Christ,
make
you
your points.
loser? Okay.
Make your
Can I
points.
just give the correct answer for once?
That is good. Is that Harry Sisson sitting with him and Juan Williams? What a
Yeah, Juan Williams and Harry Sisson. Twitter has thoughts on Harry Sisson.
Yes, they do. No one has been destroyed on Twitter more than Harry. But he says attacking him is blasphemy. That was a good comeback from Sink, saying, "Who are you, Jesus Christ? It's blasphemy to mock you, you liberal pinhead who got everything wrong in this election." You know
I will
what?
say I typically hate Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks, but they've been pretty level
He
headed.
is. I know. I'm telling you, he's close to getting red pilled. He's close to going on, the route of RFK and Elon Musk. I generally thought he was insane, but he's making sense these days. He knows what the problem is here. His party, his people have gone off the deep end. That's the problem. And he knows it. And when you look ahead 2 years or 4 years, what's going to change? You're going to have people out there trying to stop Seth Moulton because he wants to protect his daughters as much as a fraud he is. And he is. I mean, that issue is not a good one for them. They're pro-war right now. They're pro-war in Ukraine. That's the Democrat Party. All of them, AOC and Bernie Sanders and Liz Warren are pro-war. And we talk a lot about how Trump transformed the Republican Party into the party of the working class. He's also transformed it to the party of peace. The Republicans are against endless foreign wars. Democrats are for them. And these lifetime Democrats, they don't know what to do. They're sitting there going, I'm supposed to support another, whatever, 100 billion or, to Ukraine, missiles that can reach Moscow. I'm supposed to be in favor of that. Can we play that montage before we go? This is Democrats 4 years ago when Trump was the threat. Trump was going to get us into World War III. Everyone you see in this montage, including Joe Biden, AOC, everyone is now pro-war, is now in favor of sending your taxpayer money, not to Western North Carolina, to Kyiv, to Zelensky. They're in favor of shooting missiles, American missiles, into Russia, 75, 100 miles into Russia, even after Putin said he may respond with nukes. Watch this. Same people today are pro-war.
It's worth fighting for as long as it takes. And that's how long we're going to be with you, Mr. President, for as long as it takes. We'll do it. Thank you.
Well, we're on the brink of World War III because Donald Trump took the worst possible option given to him in a slideshow.
In this country, we have begun to overestimate the dangers of impeachment and underestimate the dangers of a deranged president retaining control over a nuclear hyperpower.
We cannot wait around while Donald Trump is in control of the nuclear weapon.
Your objection to potentially going into World War III cannot be procedural.
The biggest danger of the Trump presidency is that we are always just a Trump whim away from nuclear war.
They say it's World War III, but I'm looking out my window. It's very quiet in those smoking craters out there.
Has to be told that it's his job to avoid World War III.
One Democratic congressman sent me a note this evening and say this president wants this war.
A future administration needs to find a way to put an end to the forever wars.
In new normal, and the new normal is forever war.
But there's a big difference between ending the forever wars, which he wants to do responsibly, and what seems to be President Trump's rather itchy Twitter finger.
The objective needs to be to end the forever wars.
If Congress does not want to go to war, now is the time to start putting restraints on this president. And again, they've been giving him green lights all the way.
It's because we're going to take on the military industrial complex and end endless wars.
Every American needs to wake up to the shenanigans of the military-industrial complex and how much hundreds of billions of dollars are spent only because of short-term profit maximization for military defense contractors as opposed to America's legitimate security needs.
It's long past time we end the forever wars.
All of this, though, risks more of a proxy war than I think we're going to have a stomach for.
And ending our forever wars so that we can better serve our constituents at home.
When it comes to unlimited war, we seem to be able to invent that money very easily. And to me, it belies a lack of moral priorities that people have right now, especially the Republican Party.
Well, and that's why there are elections. They have consequences.
That Tip to Grabian right there, that is amazing. Every one of those people, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Tony Blinken, Susan Rice, Eric Swalwell, every one of them has given the green light to Joe Biden to fire missiles toward Moscow and push us ever closer to World War III. We'll see. Happy birthday, Joe Biden. Maybe he'll get what he wants. Maybe he'll get all-out war, something that even Trump can't stop in the next 61 days. It is a scary time. 61 more days to get rid of this bitter, angry old man who is not going to go quietly. But we will leave it there for today, this big day, Wednesday. Happy birthday. 82 years old and still in control of the nuclear codes. That should give everyone a little chill up their spine. But we'll see what happens. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Wow. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many. Thank you.